guys, and welcome to another edition of the Market Marauder Show, beating the market one trade at a time. If you're new to the Market Marauder Show, it's an investment channel, helps you to find the best deals in the market. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Definitely helps the YouTube algorithm promote the videos. All right, so this is kind of a different type of video than the ones that I'm normally produce. Talk about crypto and investing. But looking at my demographics on who are my major listeners, it is majority millennial men. So on here, there's something I just want to address. Um, Built the platform Market Marauders. Is kind of a place to help people who are investing or want to invest in the crypto or in the stock market. I'm very transparent. I show my accounts on multiple occasions, but I feel like this is something that I really wanted to address about just being dominant in the market, being dominant in life. I came across this video of Kevin Samuels just basically saying men should pay for everything. I'm not going to go into the video itself. I will put a link to it down below. But there are a lot of things that he touched on that I believe, should be addressed or should be talked about. Now, whether you're single or whether you're married, I feel like this applies to men everywhere. In the market, I feel like you should want to dominate. You should want to be number one. You should want to be the top at whatever you do. You know, history is written by those who are number one. People who write history are the winners, not the people who lost in the battle. And so, you know, building a platform like this, Market Marauders, I may not have the most amount of subscribers, but one thing I could say is ain't nobody gonna outwork me. You're not gonna outwork the amount of content that I put out. So, going to just looking at this, my channel may not be at the level yet of a lot of the other channels, but constant work will always yield fruits. And so this is the same with your trading platform. Whether you're building a Robinhood account with like $20, or whether you're building a crypto account with like $10, you may say, hey, I can't afford a Bitcoin. I can't afford a whole Ethereum. Any amount you do, you may be ahead of other people that have no crypto at all, that may not have a trading account at all. Watching videos like the ones that I talk about on different investments in the market, you are already miles ahead of other people just trying to learn that information. So, for me personally, I have the podcast. So I have a podcast on Spotify. It's on Google Play, and it's also on Anchor. So having a podcast, there are tons of hours that I go and put into this. They may be like 18, 15 minutes, but I think the information is very imperative to listen to. So, there's also one thing that I feel like Kevin Samuels talks about is working, 80 plus, 100 plus an hours a week. I have a regular job that I work myself throughout the day that I worked very hard to try to get, and then also I have this on the side. So you know, doing this, there are times where you may go days without really knowing what's going on or seeing the fruits of it. You're not gonna have hundreds or thousands of people in the beginning who look at what you're doing and then say, okay, well, I'm going to listen to it. Sometimes you may have like two or three people that listen to your podcast or, have things like that. Also, what I did as well is made books. If you type my name into Amazon, any Amazon account, I have three books that are currently out here. One just two talking about stock trading, another one talking about investing, and they're just logs that help you track your investments. And so these are things that you can do yourself. You can write a book, you can make a channel. These are all things that you can do jumping into the investment community. And just because you may not be number one doesn't mean that you're not having an accomplishment. But tying this back into why men should pay for everything, I think that, it's an honor. Especially me coming from the point of view that I am married. So I feel like it's an honor to be able to pay for things. Um, to be able to pay for things for my wife or for my friends or for my family. I feel like that's a privilege that you should be able to, be able to strive for. If you're a single guy, you know, I feel like you should be working on yourself, building your capital, building your social capital. That's something that's very important as well. Social capital is something that's definitely overlooked. Build your network, go out to places, try to meet a lot of different people. Building your social network, I think, is just as important as building your capital itself. Try to go out and meet lots of different people. Excuse me. And it doesn't mean, you know, meeting men that have a lot of money. That's something that I think a lot of people overlook as well, as they'll say, well, you know, what is the point of me going out and meeting a mechanic, or what is the point of me going out and meeting someone? You never know who knows who, especially in different cities and different areas. Always talk to people with respect. You'll never know who you can meet on your journey of life, but sitting at home playing video games, you're not really going to meet many people. Staying around, being shy, you never know. You're not going to really meet that many people. Even going to the gym itself, you can meet a lot of different people. uh, that can be a great place to network. The golf course can be a great place to network. Just going out and doing things where other men are located. So I want to jump into some statistics on here on why I kind of back this paying for everything, um, and just do it based on some statistics. So on here, being millennials, the average viewer that I have on my platform is millennials. That is the ages of 25 to 40. And so I fall into that group, 25 to 40. I do have some people who watch the channel who are Gen X, which is ages 41 to 56. But majority of the viewers are males who are 25 to 40. So that's kind of the basis for this. Going into income percentages on here, we could see the average or the median income for people who are ages 25 is $34,371. Age 40 is $53,210. So, no, is $30,052. So, on here for yeah, that was right. For median, which is the middle income, we have 25. Age 25 is $34,371, and then for 40 is $53,210. So, um, if you're married, just multiply that number times two, and so that's definitely something to consider. Now, you may be saying, hey, if I have someone that I'm with and they're making if the average median income, I'm 25 years old, is 34,000, and I have someone who I'm dating who's making 34,000, why can't they, have their equal share of paying for things? I think, as being a male, you should always want to be a provider, and be, trying to increase your income, finding different avenues of just basically going out and finding different ways to make more money. You shouldn't want to stay at $34,000, from each age. If you see on the chart right here, using the analysis, one thing that you can notice is at these different age points, the income goes up. So that's something that I think you should look for as well. The income goes up at different ages. So the amount of money that is median at 25, it's not the same amount of money that's median at 30. So in life, you're supposed to be going up in the amount of money. So let's say you're going through life, you're a 25-year-old male, and you're like, well, do I have enough money to really support myself and someone else? If $34,000 is what you make and you believe that's not enough, then maybe you should try to find different ways to increase your income, whether that's investing into crypto, whether that's learning to trade stock options, whether that's learning a new skill, going back to school, joining the military, something of that nature to increase the amount of money that you make. Now, you may be saying, well, that's very superficial to say to money is everything. You're going to need money to live life. Having, a spouse or significant other is just going to add the amount of money that you're going to need, especially if you're bringing children into the mix. That's going to add another amount of money that you're going to need in life. So, you would always want to be able to increase this amount of money. irregardless of the fame aspect. I feel like a lot of millennials will be like, or people that I've seen will be like, well, I kind of want the fame aspect. They're different rappers and other people who I see on YouTube who live in these fancy lofts, and they make millions of dollars a year. Those are, congrats to those people, but that's not everybody. Most people don't have, that path. That's not their career path. They haven't met those people. But I guarantee you that those people in life were able to do that not by, sitting at home and networking. They were out going and talking to different people. They were going to different events. They were networking, meeting a lot of people. Even if they didn't have the financial capital, they still worked on the social capital aspect. So, those are two different things that I think, everyone should look at. If you don't have the financial capital, work on the social capital. Go out and network, go out and meet people. For me, I'm a very introverted person. So it's definitely very difficult for me to go out and try to meet a lot of different people. So one thing that I did in college was I met people who were extroverted. So I was forced to go to these different places and to talk to a lot of different people because all the friends that I had were extroverted. People would come up to them and talk to them and be like, "Hey, well, you're so and so's friend," and so that's how I met a lot of different people. Find people who are extroverted who know a lot of different people, and that will definitely help you if you're introverted. And so social capital definitely goes a long way because you get to network and meet a lot of different people. And then once you grow your network, that will ultimately help you grow your capital as well. Going into some more statistics on why I agree with, what he said is on here as well. This is census.gov. So, what we want to do is just get data. Data is one of the most important things out of this, that I feel like is looked over by a lot of people. We shouldn't go based on feelings on, well, I feel like this isn't a good argument. Let's just stick to the data of the matter. And so on here, on census.gov, it says while 34% of women and 33% of men ages 20 or older who ever married had divorce. And so that's basically like a one in five. Let's say you have a group of five people, one in five people will be divorced. And so if that's the case, you should be working on trying to grow your income because you may not be with that person forever. Even if it's not marriage, just breaking up with people. People have different relationships. They move around quite a bit. In today's social age, you should always want to try to improve your amount of money that you have. Next on here, let's get into some psychology of the matter. And this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs basically explained. So at the bottom, you have psychological needs, no, physiological needs, which is air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. Next on here, you have safety needs, which is personal security, employment, resources, health, and property. Next, you have love, belonging, which is friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. Next, you have esteem, respect, self esteem, status, recognition, strength, freedom. And then on the top of the needs, as far as the least important, you have desire to become the most that one can be. And so, on here they list some key takeaways, but I'm basically going to interpret this in my personal opinion. Right above air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, you have personal security, employment, resources, um, health, and prosperity. Above that, you have love and belonging. So, to me, when I look at this, I say, as far as safety needs, personal security, employment, and resources come before friendship, intimacy, and family. So, what you should be doing is trying to increase your employment, which is your income, your resources. This also is social capital. These are things that you should be looking at that fall higher than love, intimacy, and friendship. Once you have, steady employment, a lot of things are covered. You don't have to worry about where you're going to sleep. You don't have to worry about where you're going to eat. Those things are covered. Next, you have, friendship, intimacy. This is where, finding a significant other may come into. But if you're jumping over employment and jumping over resources to do intimacy, which is, that you don't have any money, but you're trying to go and find, you know, somebody to be your partner. That's where the disconnect comes into play, and that's where you have a lot of guys who will go and say, um, if you know you don't have money, why are you trying to, go and find somebody who your significant other? Now, every situation may be different. You may find someone who genuinely does, like you and have money. The situation that I had, I definitely did not have the um, resources part down packed, but I did find intimacy. So I found my girlfriend, who was my current wife at the time, and then that helped me to go and to find more employment to increase my capital, the amount of money and stuff that I had. So I'm not saying that you can't do the reverse, but if you want to find the secure path, do the employment part first. Get the resources first, and your situation will be a lot better, in my personal opinion. So, finding the employment and resources and the hierarchy of need is at the bottom for a reason. So, you know, definitely make sure you go and look at that as far as going to. Paying for everything. That's kind of how it ties into the paying for everything, because before you found the intimacy, you already had the employment and resources, and that's something to look at. And this is just classic psychology. Lastly, on here, I want to talk about, one of the people who was ruthless in business, who everyone looked up to, whose products are being used every day, even after his passing, and that is Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was known for being very ruthless in business. He wasn't like a very friendly, nice person, but his legacy is still here today. And so I'm going to tie investing into this as to why I think men should pay for everything. So, lastly, on here, these are just interviews that the Milwaukee Business Journal had with Steve Jobs before he passed. He basically said, "Some of my very best friends in Apple, the most creative people in Apple who worked on Macintosh, almost all of them said they would never ever work for Steve Jobs again." And so on here it says he would directly confront people and almost call them idiots. But what what? When they confronted him back and told him they were right in understandable forms, he was just testing and learning, and he would respect those people who give him high privileges in the company. Um, so he was very ruthless in business. He basically spoke his mind and explained, why things were that way. He wasn't, going out here and saying, well, uh, what's the best opinion, and wasn't passive about these things. I feel like, a lot of people are saying, being passive is something to look at. Steve Jobs was not a passive person. And, he actually got fired from his own company. And so, he had to go start a new company basically from scratch before he got voted back in to Apple. And so, him being ruthless helped him to become as successful as he was. Sadly, we lost him, but Apple is still here because of the ruthless business tactics that he had. Going into the investment side of it, Apple has a $2.08 trillion market cap, which is crazy to even think about. That you could build a company from scratch and have a company that's worth $2.08 trillion. So in August of 2018, Apple became the world's first company to record a market capitalization of $1 trillion. Roughly 2 years later, became the first publicly traded U.S. company to surpass $2 trillion. As of March 15, 2021, the market cap is $2.0 trillion. To put staggering 2 trillion figure into context, we have five other huge things that technology companies uh, bigger than other comparables. So on here, it just basically goes over some statistics to look at. So, Apple's market cap is actually larger than the GDP of Italy, Brazil, and Canada. So, that means GDP, gross domestic product, is all the economy of Canada is less than the market cap of Apple, which means Every business that makes money in Canada, Brazil, or Italy has less money than Apple. Think about Italy. Italy produces Ferrari. Think of how much money Ferraris cost. Think of all the companies that are in Italy. Their whole country's GDP is less than Apple. And this comes from ruthless business tactics. And you look at someone like Steve Jobs, who basically built this company from the ground up on those principles. So those are principles that I think that everybody should look at, especially being in business. Now, I'm not saying go out and be just a jerk or a butthole, all the time in business, but these are definitely things to consider. A person like Steve Jobs, I feel like would lead with their money. If they were having a dinner with someone, they wouldn't be like, oh, well, we should split this 50-50. No, he would just pay for it. These are things that I feel like are common sense that are really looked over when it comes to, the whole manosphere situation. Now, I'm not a red pill. I'm not in the red pill community. I'm not manosphere. These are just some things that I've observed because of my demographic and my target audience. So, lastly, on here, going into net worth, Steve Jobs' net worth is about 10.2 billion, and so he was a millionaire at the age of 23. So at the age of 23, before he even, under this millennial, so before he would have, been considered a millennial, the target audience that I'm, catering towards, he was worth $1 million. So that goes to show you, you can, go out and, um, basically dominate. Not to say, if you're a 20 something year old, you should have a net worth of $1 million. That narrative, I think, is something that we shouldn't, be pushing. But you should want to dominate whatever you're doing. Whatever you're doing in life, try to dominate it. Try to be, number one at it. And that comes with, being generous with your money, helping people out. You should, want to be able to help people out. Majority of the people that you see who give all this money to charity, you have to have the money to give to charity. you know, you should, not to say, get this money to be stingy, buying a bunch of Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Those are things you can do, but majority of people that you see who have all this money are generous with their money. Whether that's, paying for things for their family, whether that's going on nice vacations, whether that's helping, their immediate family, whether that's donating to charity. A lot of these people give lots of money, and that can only be done by having lots of money. So I feel like that's a goal that a lot of people should look at, especially in the younger demographic. Increase the amount of capital that you have, increase the things that you're doing. Always strive to be the best at what you're doing, and it definitely will pay off dividends. You may not see it at the beginning, of your journey. So you may start out, me, I'm still in my YouTube journey. I'm not, the top of my industry. There are investment channels who are way bigger than I am. You got Wall Street Trapper, who's way bigger than I am. You got Earn Your Leisure, who's a podcast group that's way bigger than my podcast is. Even though, I do make more episodes than a lot of these, content creators do, I still praise them for, what they're doing. As far as YouTube community, you have Meet Kevin, who's a YouTuber, has way more subscribers than I do. You have Andre Jick. You have Graham Stephan. These are all people in the community that, have way more subscribers than I have. Do I hate on them? No, I praise them. They put in the work, they put in the effort, and they yield the results. You just got to continue out there grinding, especially when it comes to investing. And so this is just something that I want to talk about. I feel like it's, a subject for my target demographic, millennials, people like myself, who are just basically in that journey where you're like, well, I don't have, multi-million dollars. What do I do? What direction do I have? Just be great at what you're doing, and then always be generous. Lead with the money that you have, and that will always pay dividends. So good luck to everybody there trading. Hope everybody has a great rest of the week, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.